For some reason, in the streaming world, talking about money has always been icky. I don't abide by that. And with the knowledge that some bigger streamers are actually making less money than smaller streamers who basically are better at monetizing their stream, today I'm gonna give you a couple of tips to do exactly that, to monetize your stream a little bit better. Tipping pages are definitely the most popular way of monetizing your stream by simply sharing a link that allows people to select the amount, leave a message, and tip you via PayPal and sometimes bank cards. Popular websites like StreamElements and Streamlabs will allow you to set that up pretty fast. And since those same websites give you access to widgets, it's actually pretty easy to set up alerts so you can know and actually thank people when they actually tip you. Now, when it comes to sharing that tipping page link, it can vary depending on where you stream. On Twitch, for example, you can have panels right underneath your stream so people can just scroll down, find a tipping panel and click on it and get to it. When on a website like YouTube, for example, there's no panels down here. So you would probably want to use a chatbot to post the link from time to time in chat. Now, something I got to tell you right now, for new streamers, they tend to think because I have a donation or a tip button or a link, that means that I'm begging. I gotta tell you right now, stop thinking like that. That is not the case. Tipping is absolutely part of live streaming culture, meaning that when viewers come to your stream, they expect you to accept tipping. That doesn't mean you have to, but it definitely doesn't mean that you are begging for money just by having a tipping link. In fact, some people love interacting with the stream after they followed, subscribe. There's not much they can do to trigger alerts except for tip. So not having a tipping page in certain cases means that you have less interaction available on your stream. Some platforms such as Twitch will have their own currency, which is a way to convert real money into platform currency that people can gift you. Depending on the platform, you can actually set up some incentives for people to buy and spend that currency. Twitch, for example, has a couple of pre-made effects that are linked to that currency, which is bits. Some people have that currency linked to TTS, so that's like the only way to get your message read out loud by a robot on stream. And you can even create a menu of all the incentives. What will you do for a certain amount of bits, of course, within TOS. Now, what are the advantages and disadvantages? A positive is your viewers can spend money on a trusted platform, which they already have an account to, and those transactions can be done on stream without opening a different tab. An example of a disadvantage is you need to be Twitch affiliate to have access to bits, meaning that people cannot support you through this if you haven't streamed a while, gained a certain amount of followers of average viewership, and signed the affiliate contract. So if you start streaming today, you're not gonna be getting bits today. YouTube, for example, has Super Chat, where your message is going to be on top of the chat. It's going to be in color. It's going to pop out a little bit. Super stickers, which you can pay to have them, be big in chat. Channel memberships are a monthly support. It's like subscribing on Twitch. But here with the Super Chat, as long as you have a YouTube account, I believe you can just go ahead and link your credit card once. And then after that, it's super easy to just click and give. There's no real in-platform currency. It's just real money, but it immediately does something different than a regular chat or a regular tip for that matter. Now, just like Twitch, the live streamer needs to unlock Super Chat in order to receive them. Meaning that if you start streaming today on YouTube, you're not gonna have access to Super Chat. Going back to those websites that give you that tipping page, you can get a widget from them that is a tip goal. And it's basically going to be a bar displayed on screen at all times that shows the name of your goal, so whatever you're crowdfunding for, the total amount that you need, and how much you've accumulated so far. Now, the tip here is that you can turn anything into a goal, really. But if you're gonna do a tip goal or sub goal or anything that involves money, I encourage you to give some sort of incentive, even if it's not something big or extravagant. The most popular option being doing a special stream. If you're not used to doing horror streams, for example, you can say, hey, I'm gonna play a horror game. I'm gonna be in the dark. I'm gonna have a heart rate monitor. And when you're starting out, you kind of want that tip goal to go towards improving the stream, raising money for a brand new microphone, for example, if yours is not adequate enough, a better webcam. It doesn't have to be like a necessity, but it's a great way to not only improve your stream, whether it's visually or just practically, maybe a stream deck, but on the side of the tippers, it always feels good to contribute to the live stream itself. Also, your tipping goal can be as small as possible. I remember going around Paris and basically crowdfunding this stream. Not a trip to Paris because I used to live there, but just, public transportation cost and cost for my food there. And that's it. My stream basically banded together to get me to go out and IRL live stream myself at the Eiffel Tower. And then we went to the Louvre. You can see the pyramid here. We did a bunch of really cool stuff in just one live stream, and I believe the whole goal was probably like 30 bucks. That was way back. Bitstream doesn't exist anymore. Streamlabs bought them. Fun fact. If you're more on the geeky side of stuff and you like to basically tinker with your broadcasting software, your tip incentives could be things that entirely happen on stream or on screen or in chat. Using external software like StreamerBot to do pretty much anything you want. Here's me making a whole Nintendo Switch from scratch inside of OBS Studio. You can probably have that pop up with the name of whoever tipped. It can be a shout out. You can also make special alerts, basically alerts that don't look like the typical alerts, just for a certain amount of tips. You can probably have options that completely disrupt the stream for the highest tips, because sometimes people love to mess around with the streamer like that. And it doesn't have to be complex like that. It can just be like, hey, mute the mic for 1 minute with a timer on screen. It all depends on you, what you like, what you think your viewers will like, and how much you're willing to interrupt your own stream, really. And I like to say the possibilities are truly endless. We're not done, but I want you to understand, like, the premise of all this is to have a highly interactive live stream where the most disrupting or like the most extravagant stuff is paid, but you also need a bunch of, little things that are not for money. You don't want a stream that is exclusively driven by money, because statistically, you're gonna have like probably a majority of people who can't even afford to support you in that way, or some viewers on Twitch just don't have access to money at all. You don't want to penalize them, or you don't want them to feel bored. You don't want them to feel like they have zero option. You want to serve both the free viewer and also the habitual tipper. Now, keeping on the trend of interaction, there are some websites that you can use to give you even more stuff, right? Tengia is one of them, which I don't really use. But if you are into that whole AI stuff, they have some pretty interesting stuff like the AI answers, where chat can ask a question and then an AI voice will actually answer on stream. A friend of mine had like a Gordon Ramsay, which you can just ask questions and then Gordon Ramsay is going to answer you. You can also manage things like sound effects and showing memes on screen and all that stuff. Overall, I'd say it's a simpler way of managing those interactions from a website rather than using StreamerBot or something like that. That being said though, very heavy into AI, so if that's not your thing, I'm not condoning it, but I'm letting you know that, hey, this exists. OwnPro is another website that is kind of, I'd say comparable to Streamlabs or StreamElements, but they have a couple of things that you can add that are not like the typical look. So if you want to look a little bit original, build your own scenes and have access to some free overlays, this one is pretty cool. Full disclaimer, I am an affiliate with them. I'm probably not going to put my affiliate link in the description. They used to be a regular sponsor of the channel, but not anymore. Also, they started doing a lot of Gen AI stuff. So yeah, if you're into that, it's there. I don't know if that's a paid option or not, but overall, they have some really cool widgets. They had a thing where you could have alerts show up on screen, and I can't find it. Basically, it would be like an alert that would play on the full screen of the streamer. So if you were to like jump scare them or whatever, it would appear like on top of the gameplay, on top of everything else. And yeah, I can't find that. That was like the really cool thing that Own did. Anyways, if I do find it, I'll put a link. If not, own.pro. You just replace the E with a 3. The StreamElements theme widget page also has pretty cool like options that you can get ideas from. For example, a step goal where you can have multiple incentives depending on where you are, the overall goal. Basic stuff like, Wheel of Fortune. There's also a stream marathon timer, which is, I'm probably not gonna have this as its own section. You can do like subathons or tipathons, I don't know. Basically, people can contribute and add to the timer. That will be the total time of you being live. The more people donate, the longer you have to stay live. This is not something that I necessarily condone. I've never done it personally, but it's something that streamers do. So if that's something you're interested in, StreamElements has a widget for that, so you can just automate it. This one is a tiered goal tracker, so you can unlock, multiple levels of a goal. So when you reach it, it goes to like level 2, and then you can reach level 2. It's a different way of showing a tip goal, especially if you have, again, multiple incentives at each level. That would be cool. Streamlabs has a tip jar. Hold on, because mine is highly customized. Let's do this and that. Mine is transparent for some reason. Let's go with default. There we go. There you go. So basically people can tip you and then, physical coins will drop into the tip jar. People stopped using it a while ago, unfortunately. And there's a couple of options. You have the Pachenko type of game here. But yeah, those are the easy things to just, go on a website, log in with your Twitch account, copy the browser source, and add it in your broadcasting software. Now, I told you about collecting money to improve the stream, mostly by buying gear and things like that. There's another way to do that, by using wishlists. On a website like Throne, people can directly go and contribute to a goal or just outright pay for a product and have it shipped to your place. Now, Throne is probably not the only website that does that, but that's the one I use. And I really like the simplicity, especially when it's available, when it's possible for people to just pay and have it shipped to your place directly. You don't have to manage money or anything like that. That being said, that is not always available and definitely not available in every country. So you also have the option to just raise money, and basically Throne will give the money to the creator, and then the creator will take care of ordering the product or something like that. Now, I've worked directly with Throne in the past, like they basically paid me to advertise before. I don't think I have an affiliate link. So this is my affiliation with Throne, is that I actually used it. I've got people that gifted me all of this, which is nice. I've gifted tons of stuff to other people too. And I personally never had any problems with them. That being said, I moved from Paris to where I am now, where I cannot directly have Amazon orders delivered to me. So everything has to basically, now I have to manage the money in a way. Of course, when people gift you stuff, they actually pay a little bit overhead. So it's going to be more expensive for them to order on Throne, the exact same product, versus if they were ordering it from Amazon directly. Right? Amazon public wish list is also an option, but Throne was basically created for creators. So it really has this whole thing in mind where you can have alerts on screen. When someone orders something, it will pop up on screen. You can have like a Twitter integration. So you actually automatically tweet out, hey, I got a contribution for this product, or someone paid for this product. People can send messages with, their tips or their gifts, and you can answer messages and all that stuff. I have a video on it. You should watch it if you want to learn more. So when you go to your account and you go to your list, you have the option to create a list. You just need to make sure your list is set to public, and then you can share the link. But here's the thing with Amazon and why I don't use that. It will also, this is not my address. I don't live in the US. It will not share your address with people, but it will share the city that you're in. So not only the country, but also the precise city. If you don't have your settings correctly and you have your real name, it will also share your real name. So you have to be very careful about that. Overall, the whole thing with Amazon is that, those were made for your friends. So if people are not friends and family, I wouldn't advise sharing your public wish list with them. Especially since there's a trick where you can add something to your basket, remove it, and basically send whatever you want to that address, meaning that you could add an item from a private seller, meaning that Amazon will communicate the person's full address to that private seller. So yeah, it exists, it's possible, but it's not meant for that. Therefore, it's not secure. A website like Throne was made for that specific purpose, so it will not be sharing your address with the people that are gifting you stuff. People can also suggest gifts, which is nice. And there's also a little social aspect where you can see your friends' wish list. You can follow people to see what they add to their wish list. But this is all pretty cool. I believe they also have Discord integration. Oh, it's funny because this mouse pad, I have it right there. I just cleaned it today. Look at that. See, I'm not lying. I know people love to just see my face and just assume that I'm a scammer or something. This is real. I also still have that vacuum cleaner. Look at that. Still works too. Look at that. I think it was C-Gamer that gifted it. Shout out to you, C-Gamer. Anyways, all that to say, even if you're not getting money directly, which you absolutely can with Throne, getting gifts that might help you improve the stream basically prevents you from having to save up money to buy that new microphone or whatever. Things like, oh, guys, I really want to do IRL streams, but I need a selfie stick. Put it on your Throne or just set up a goal. You have options. Giving exclusive access to places like Discord or anywhere else where you might be more present is also a decent way to actually monetize your live streams. And it's not necessarily done to make money. Most of the time, it's mostly meant to filter out people, because the more popular you start getting, the more difficult it becomes to actually filter people. Being able to avoid trolls or making it just a little bit more difficult for trolls to reach you is actually going to become crucial Now, Discord itself has a monetization feature, but most people just connect it to Twitch or their YouTube. And if you become a member or if you subscribe, it will automatically give them a role that allows them to communicate inside the Discord or have access to certain channels. But again, if you don't want to go through Twitch, for example, especially since the split of subscription is like 50-50 or something like that, plus tax, you basically get 20% of that money. You could use Discord's own monetization system, or you can use a Discord bot such as Me6 that allows you to also set up a monetization system. That way you might be even able to adjust the prices, make it, I don't know, cheaper than a Twitch sub or a YouTube membership or something like that. Anyways, again, you have options. If you have a private Instagram or a private Snapchat, if you have a Patreon where you create like extra content, basically people are paying to get more content or just more access to you versus what they would get on stream. And that is worth something. I think the overall tip here is try to give something in return every single time someone has to go into their wallet and give you money. It doesn't have to be something wild, but it has to be something. Of course, that's up to you. One thing I must say is that avoid doing giveaways where people have to pay to enter. That's pretty much illegal in multiple countries. So remember that. A lot of people just try to come up with ideas and then they come up with illegal stuff without even knowing it. There's probably ways to get around it, but like just in general, don't do that. If you're gonna do a giveaway, make sure that everyone has a chance to enter. And if the goal is to have it just for people who support you, make sure that just followers can participate. Another way to make money is, of course, through affiliate programs. If you've been on the internet for a while, you know this. Now, here's my advice. If you're going to be in an affiliate program, I would suggest you try to aim for something that you know for a fact that your viewers are already buying, already using, or are really interested in. If you're playing like competitive shooters and blah, 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 try to get yourself affiliated with brands that sell mouse, keyboards, headsets. If some people are aspiring streamers, lights, microphones, cameras, and all that. Personally, I say if you want to cover everything, just go for Amazon. I believe Throne also has an affiliate program and they work with a bunch of brands which give you access to all of that, including Amazon. That way you're able to sell basically everything I just listed directly. You don't have to wait until you get another company to this and that. Like if I want to sell you Razer products, Logitech products, also you don't have, the boundaries of contracts like, hey, you can't sell the competitor's product or blah, blah, blah. No, if you're affiliate with Amazon, everything is coming from Amazon. You might get lower rates, but at least you are free and you can sell anything. Now, it's not super easy to get into the Amazon affiliate program. You do need a couple of like followers. You need to have a platform that's already working pretty well. Once you're in, all you have to do is basically generate links. I can even generate affiliate links for like Amazon Prime, but also like Amazon Video. Like if you're not subscribed to Prime, I could share you my link and I would make money in that. So it's actually pretty interesting. If you're in the US or just whatever you have locally and you have a lot of people asking you, what is your setup, right? If you're live streaming and I don't know, your camera shows your PC and you're this and you're that, and you have a bunch of gear that is visible and people are constantly asking you about it. I don't know if Micro Center does affiliation, but anything where you can like build a PC and things like that, you can direct them towards a link where they can see your specs, but also if they decide to buy directly from that website, you can make a little bit of money. Once again, just make sure you follow the laws, especially when it comes to affiliation. You need to disclose, hey, this is an affiliate link. I'm actually making a commission on this, and you're good. Just try to niche it down. On Amazon, for example, once you're affiliate, you can have like a front page, a storefront, basically that can show all of your gear and people can buy directly from there. So just because you have access to every Amazon product doesn't mean that you need to be pushing every Amazon product. People already have like analysis paralysis. But if I'm being honest, you having good knowledge on your target audience is going to help you figure out exactly what to put in there. Look at that. Roblox gift card. If you're a Roblox streamer, that's a no-brainer. Also, since we talked about Throne and I told you that you have the option to basically receive money directly, that means that you can set up gift cards as items in your wish list. You can set game skins and things like that. You just have to put the amount and then the people pay and you can get the digital product later on. Just wanted to throw that in there. Anyways, choose your affiliate programs wisely. All right, possibly the most difficult part, sell products. Now it's easy to use myself as an example here because I make content for live streamers. So I sell products related to live streamers. Sell. It's a big word because the vast majority is completely free, but overlays, transitions, alerts, and all that good stuff, you can find it at gumroad.com/GaelLevel. That being said, if you're not a live stream guru, as people call me, this will probably not apply to you. So you need to find something that might apply to you. So you have to basically sit down and really think really hard about what can you produce and actually sell online. And it needs to have, at least a little bit of value. Some people, for example, have stream decks, right? I have a bunch in front of me right now. And then they customize their whole stream. They create a bunch of pages that go with like a certain game. This is something that you can share. And potentially, this is something that you can sell, especially if you customize your own icons. Merch is something else that a lot of people try, but I'm going to be real with you. Merch is one of the most difficult things to sell, especially if you do like the no-brainer type of merch where you just slap your stream logo onto it and then call it a day. Most likely that's not gonna work. What I would suggest you do if you're gonna do merch is to use a company that has a whole marketplace, meaning that you're not just creating your own store and then selling your own merch, but you're creating designs, you're putting them on products, and then those products are available to everyone on that specific website that are looking up a specific keyword. That specific keyword can have to do with the game. Now be very careful with copyright laws. Don't put the logo of the game or anything like that. Do not put anything that you don't have the rights to, right? That being said, if you play certain games, there are certain things that have to do with the game that are not copyrighted that you can put on a t-shirt. For example, I remember using a platform called Spreadshirt to sell a DayZ related t-shirt. When I first started playing DayZ, it's like a survival, kind of realistic survival game. And people kept yelling, friendly, friendly, friendly. That's to let you know that they're friendly, that they're not hostile. So I designed a t-shirt with the word friendly written on it. So white t-shirt, black, huge, bold letters to say friendly. And I put a blood splatter on that word. So it was like friendly. And it actually sold a bunch of copies. Now, was that my live streaming t-shirt selling? No, absolutely not. That had nothing to do with me technically. I just came up with a clever-ish design and actually sold it. But hey, if you're a content creator, on top of having that on the marketplace, you can also let people know, hey, I have this. This is something that you would wear. This is something that you would buy independently of me and my live stream. So why not, make a couple bucks on it? Keeping in mind that that's all you're going to do on each t-shirt. Even if you're selling it for like 30 bucks, you're probably going to make maximum like $6 or something like that. So if you have the talent, the patience, the know-how, or the know-how to learn how, I would actually advise you making the product yourself and basically shipping it. But if you don't have time for that, I could also completely understand. I'm just saying, if you're going to make something, either make it be a digital product. That way, your supply is infinite, or make it at home. That way your profit is maximized and you can ensure quality. In fact, if you want inspiration on what other people are selling, what the hell is this? Face IQ premium analysis to let you know that people are really out there selling everything, right? Filmmakers, they sell like presets or like color presets, like filters, LUTs. Photographers sell presets for photos to edit. There are video game guides that are being sold. It's $35 for a Burning Crusade Gold guide. And there's already 5 ratings, which means probably more than, and there's already 8 ratings, so probably more than 8 people bought this. I play games like VRChat. People sell avatars. I use Blender 3D, so sometimes I look for base models to download so that I can create my own stuff on top of it. People create their own plugins for certain software, such as Blender, so I get that too. People create their own brushes for Photoshop, their assets for Unity or Unreal Engine, custom fonts, audio packs for producers. People sell stock photos on here. Like the possibilities are endless. The possibilities are endless. I love saying that because it's true. But yeah, I would say that selling stuff as a content creator or just a live streamer is a side hustle. Like you have to put a minimum amount of effort into it, but depending on what you're selling, it can be very easy to make a lot of money really fast and really easily. Especially if you're selling digital products, that's really when it kind of becomes passive income, even though, true passive income don't exist because, well, you need to create new stuff and also promote the old stuff. That's work. Yeah, I think that's it for today. There's obviously a ton of other ways to make money. There's coaching and things like that, but I don't want to go too much in the direction of, just listing side hustles that you can do on the internet. I really wanted to keep it kind of linked to your live stream, even though selling products is, more of a side hustle than related to live streaming. Anyways, make sure you subscribe if that was helpful in any way. Follow me on Twitch because I be streaming. If you're looking for alerts, overlays, and all that good stuff, go to gumroad.com/guidelevel, and I'll see you next time.